question is, how do democracies respond to those scandals?
And what will it mean for...
I would be surprised if they do.
Del CISACHA quedó, ya solamente tenemos que registrar autonomía curricular y el área socioemocional de los niños, y otra parte no está quedando bien.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you are tuning in. My name is Jonathan Torres-Herrera, and you are watching or listening to the JTH show. Today, I want to talk about, should women be allowed to breastfeed and Zoom call at the same time? But first, roll the intro. All right. As always, you can catch a full episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Radio Public. Also, if you don't mind liking this video, sharing it, dropping a comment, and subscribing if you haven't. If you have subscribed, it's very important that you ring those notification bells. Otherwise, you're not going to know when I drop these awesome videos for you because they're made for you. Don't forget that. Okay, let's start with the video now. So, there is an interesting article that I came across on CNN. And in fact, it was in different outlets, including the Daily Mail, and then there was even an article done in Spanish that went on into this whole other world of like issues around women and breastfeeding. Now, the one I'm gonna talk about today specifically, which I actually read, is the one from thedailymail.com, and that is California college professor is forced to apologize to student 23 after telling her not to breastfeed her 10-month-old baby girl during online classes. Yes, that is the whole title of the article. Now, there are some things on here that, you know, like my producer over there said, who cares about like the fact that she's 23 or her name and stuff like that, which I guess I could agree. Now, the things that we should highlight, and that's what we're here for today, is the young student went on to get an apology, went on to speak or communicate at least through some kind of email exchange with the head of the school, of the college, and was told, hey, continue, breastfeeding your child. In fact, California, which is where this happened, there are actually some laws that allow women, or actually have told employers, right, and schools that they have to give women time to breastfeed their child without facing any kind of backlash or any kind of, repercussion for, again, taking time to feed their child, whether off work or during work, or from, in this case, college classes. Now, the article is quite extensive, includes some, photos of the student, the fact that, she actually also went on a big rant on social media. She was pretty upset over the whole thing. Now, I definitely have my opinion over this, of course, and I don't know that it's going to be a popular one. My wife is very on the edge right now. Now, as I've said before, my wife and I have 3 children, and, we went through the whole breastfeeding phase, right? Yes, I went through it too. And let me tell you, while I have some points with my wife that we mutually agree on, there are some points that, of course, she doesn't. Now, one of them, I'll start with the good ones. Some of the points are, hey, the individual definitely needs to have time to be able to feed her child, right? That is not only by law, but also something that you cannot deny, right? You cannot tell a child, a baby, you're not going to be fed right now. There are more important things, okay? Chill out. No, of course you cannot do that. Nobody should really do that, right? I'm against people on the street, which is that one other recorder I was talking to you about that went into this whole other rabbit hole about, it's this, very similar to when women are feeding publicly, and then some individuals have even been caught on tape yelling at women for, hey, put your breasts away and blah, 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 blah. I think that this is very different, right? When a woman is out and, has to stop, and feed her child, I get it 100%. yes, of course, I have a bias here because, well, my wife had to do that plenty of times, right? No matter where you're at, it doesn't matter. Babies don't really know if you're at a very important dinner or if you're, out just running a quick errand. It doesn't matter. And once they start going, they start going. And I mean, crying, of course, right? And what can you do about it? Many of you that, were parents, you would understand this. Okay, this is not that. This is different. This goes along with the whole, hey, right now we're all in this together, and I'm referring to the pandemic, where we have to kind of mold our lives at home to fit the schedules and the Zoom calls, the phone conversations and meetings that we have to take for either work or school. And we need to make sure that our home doesn't, leak into those meetings, right? As much as possible. Now, I can say this firsthand. You guys have seen my videos, right? My other video about, the discussing side of distance learning with children. Now, while I had my strong opinions over that, there is a part of me that says, all right, but those are kids, JT, right? Immature, sucking on their clothes like they're babies, but whatever. At the end of the day, immature children. Okay. In this particular case, we have a situation where a mother, right, is attending college. I applaud that. Great. She's trying to make something of herself. Hey, she has a baby, not a newborn, but a baby nonetheless. And she's still trying to, make sure she gets those college, courses in. Fantastic. Again, everything to applaud there. What do not agree with? Well, I don't agree with the fact that if you have to have a camera and microphone on you, it is allegedly, according to the articles, facing you in a way where, everybody's getting, a full show of what you're having to do with your child. And yeah, there's even a photo. Put it here. Nods. Boom. Right? Where, she took this photo. After the fact, she's like, hey, here's a picture to show people that I can do my class. My wife was even telling me, when I used to have to do it, whether it be in public, I used to try to cover myself up because that's what you do. And, even when you are on camera or something, you try not to be on camera, or at least a part of you that doesn't need to be, right? The professor in this particular case wants to see more than anything her face. I don't think any work, right, boss or professor, teacher, that actually would think it would be illegal. Be like, hey, put the camera facing you where we can see all of you. Lower. Good. Perfect. No. Right? They want to see that you're on camera just to make sure that you're not either just recording the meeting and taking a nap or something. And that, that your microphone is on so you can participate. That's really it. But again, I don't picture this professor saying, can you put it lower? I don't think we can see your baby's face clearly while you're breastfeeding. No. Now, the professor, from what I understand, what she did is, or he did actually, I don't even know if it's a male or female. Not that it would matter. But the professor went on to say, hey, please leave the breastfeeding for after class. Now, I definitely would have done it differently, personally, right? If I was a professor, I would have dealt with it very differently. If I saw that the student, was having to feed the child or whatever, I would have maybe, slacked her if they use Slack or some type of messaging system, right? Stop the class, everybody time out. Or, you know what, I'm not going to share the cameras with everybody where everybody can see everything. I would have done something of that nature if I needed to take care of it right then and then. And then say, hey, don't do that. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. I stopped the class real quick for you, but can you either face your camera very high or just turn it off, right? Now, in this particular situation with this story, reading the details, she began to breastfeed her child. The professor called her out, which, again, I disagree with. And then later on, through some exchange messages, afterward, after the whole fact, she said, "Oh, I could definitely turn off my webcam or my microphone when I have to breastfeed my child." Now, again, I think this can have been avoided if you would have just right there, just there we go. If you ever use one of these right here, very futuristic pieces of equipment, you know that the camera is only going to get so much, right? I can be doing something down here and you have no idea what I'm doing. That's how it is. But no, that didn't happen, right? The camera definitely was capturing enough where the professor felt, I need to call you out right now. You know, again, not that I agree with the professor doing it in allegedly the way she says the professor did, but you know, I guess that's a different topic. So let's move on to the fact that this is something that is now happening more and more often. You hear more and more stories, right? Where people either leak a little bit of their life, like you saw in that intro video. It was interesting, wasn't it? Where you have, you know, unfortunately, individuals that are at work, at home, of course, because of what's happening, not just in the U.S., worldwide. And then you have other household family members that, yes, you can argue and say, well, they're in their house, JT, like they forget. Haven't you ever walked around your tantarans like you saw in that video? And I would argue, that's chismoso. It's not your business. But yes, if you have to know, I have done it. But I often just get caught on camera. Now more than ever, I am super hyper aware if any camera's on. Sometimes I'm in here in this room by myself, you know, and I'm typing away and I have a little, you know, a little thing, you know, and I have to go digging. And then I'm like, is that off? Is that off? And I go over there and I check, make sure it's off. And I'm like, that's weird. I'm sure that's weird. And then I'm like, oh, there's another webcam right there. You know, it happens. So when I'm at home with my children, and by the way, 3 of them, and then they're on their webcams right now at school, I honestly feel like I can be myself. So I know the inconvenience. You know, you take like 10 steps, you know, with the lonja and all like corobado and like, oh, well. And as soon as the cameras are like, walk by. And then you walk by. And then the next child, you're like, it feels weird. I get it. I get the feeling, right? Of not feeling like, hey, you're in your home and now you're letting all these eyeballs watch inside your home. So I get it. I really understand. I understand her, right? Work and in her case, school have now come and invaded her home, right? Well, I said work and school, right? In her case, school have now invaded her home, her privacy. But we're all in this together. I've said it before. I mean, what's the better alternative? I don't think there's one, by the way. Or the better answer that many people actually reported saw that I replied. Well, then quit school. That's dumb. Nobody's just going to quit school and quit, you know, work and quit life until this whole thing's over. No one's going to do that. Right? People need to adjust. People need to figure out a way to situate their environment to make sure that they don't have distractions. Remember that same video that I just mentioned about the disgusting, you know, side of distance learning? If you guys didn't see that video, there's a little clip where I included, you know, something with a kid that, you know, lived in a very unfortunate situation. At least it appeared to be that way, you know, in comparison to kids that have like their own room and everything, all nice and lit and everything. And in his case, he went through the trouble of setting up a current every time he had to go to school just to not have any distractions behind him. This is what you do, right? So of course there's going to be people, like in this case with her, that she went off, she got interviewed by CNN and, you know, the Daily Mail and all this other stuff, and she got the attention she wanted, right? And of course you're going to have a very large group of individuals, in this case probably mainly mothers, you know, that come to the rescue and say, hey, how dare you? You have no idea. But for those of us that lived with someone that had to do these same actions and more than anything agreed with me, you know, and saying, yeah, there's workarounds. If you really want to and not be sort of out there with what you're having to do with your child, not that it's taboo, because I don't want people to be like, you're making it sound like it's a bad thing. Stop it. I'm not. But with the, you know, with the routine of having to feed your child, you do things. You do what now? Yeah, it has to be mutual. There you go, right? You want your privacy. Well, at least my wife did, right? My wife was very private like that. Sometimes I didn't even know what she was doing. I thought she was just having like a big cobija on top of her, you know, and all of a sudden, like one of my kids would pop up like, You know, like yeah, it was underneath there the whole time. It was really interesting, but it was mutual. She wanted her privacy. That's just the way she was. And, she didn't want anyone else to intrude on anyone else's, sort of space or privacy, right? Like she just said, it was mutual. Yes, of course. I've also known people that really don't care. And they're like, oh, they're hungry. I bet, come here, walk over here. You already walk. Come here. And they just go like, I've seen it. It happens. My wife's even like, yeah, I mean, what do? Clearly that individual doesn't care about privacy. And I say, you know what? That's your problem. Or not, I guess. That's your business. I do not care to partake in seeing your 1-year-old walk over there and just like, so I'm going to turn this way, which is my last point here. In a public setting, you see someone that probably is going to start doing, the feeding of their child, you get to just walk away and you don't have to turn, right? Which is a little bit of what I was saying earlier about people that get all crazy when they see women having to breastfeed their child, right? It's ridiculous. I'm not with that party. No one's forcing you. No one's like, excuse me, sir, can you have a moment, please? Can you come here real quick? Ma'am here is about to start breastfeeding your child. Can you take a moment, please, to observe it? No one's doing that. Just walk, move, go. In Zoom classes where you have all these eyeballs that unfortunately also have to be watching the same class, and I don't know why more professors and teachers don't turn off to the cameras, but another video for another day. They're like, what are they doing? What everybody does. If you've ever been to a Zoom class or a Zoom meeting, tell me you haven't, or a Google Meet or whatever, any platform. Tell me you're not like watching, and then your eyeballs go like, what está haciendo? Everybody does that. I do that still when all my kids and my wife chat. I'm chatting with my wife, yeah, we Zoom class. Of course we do. And I'm like, what is she doing? And we all, in different rooms. So, it happens. So if you know that you're going to have anywhere between 10 to 15, 20, 30 eyeballs on you, right? Or more, maybe make sure that you don't have anything in the background. Your husband's not going to be walking in his tantarans, or do what I do. You know what I do when I'm about to start doing like a meeting or something? I got to start recording. And I'm like, Alexa, start broadcasting, then I'm going to record. And I start, doing, messages and letting people know, because I don't want anybody walking here with their tantarans. Remember Johnny that one time? That was my bad. You know why? Because I didn't tell people. He just walked in here and I'm recording. Oh, okay, I don't care. Anyway, do you have my, remember that? You guys remember that, right? Most of you guys that are new here, my kid walked in one time, right? And was just, hey, I need this, I need that. But that's on me. Sorry, I unfortunately pressed the button here for dear Alexa, and she just went crazy. But anyways, that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoy the show. Leave me your comments down below. If maybe you disagree, maybe you agree. Either way, I like to hear from you guys. I definitely get people watching the show, but I know a lot of you guys like to comment, which I get it. I don't comment on every single video, but hey, once in a while, drop me a comment. Definitely drop a like, and it really helps the show. So let me know your thoughts, and again, make sure you hit that notification bell for the subscription button. Again, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. See ya. Hey, thanks for watching the JTH show. Remember, you can catch all the full episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Radio Public. You can also visit www.thejthshow.com to catch episodes there, and to catch anything that we had to blur out because of YouTube or any other platform. We usually put all of our raw information in there that is uncensored. You can also become a member at www.thejthshow.com to catch all the special perks. Thanks for watching.